These are the components that we have to assemble the Dog Den Plus. This is Reflectex. This is your corner insulation for the top. And this is a really good material. It has a super R value. It's actually bubble wrap material between 2 layers of Mylar and reflects heat back towards the interior of the doghouse. This is what we call the front tab. This will go on the top of your front frame. This is your this is a right gusset and left gusset. This is your front brace support or front brace. Here's your weather stripping that you'll use to seal the unit. This is your fastener pack. This will include all of your nuts, bolts, well, nuts too, nuts and bolts, and screws and pop rivets are all included to assemble the Dog Den Plus. This is the front frame, and the front frame, if you'll notice, it has this bend here, and this is what we call a tab. The front frame and the back wall and frame have tabs also. This is what your wall and top will attach to. This is your front wall. This is the back wall and frame, and as you can see, you want to zoom in on this a little bit there, camera guy. We've got the holes already not punched, but plasmaed in to attach your heater. And we also have the hole for the cord to go through, and we provide a rubber grommet to go in there so that the cord does not come in contact with steel and short out. Okay, this is your left wall. And this is the right wall. This is the top. And you have 2 holes at the front, 2 holes at the back. The back is the back has the 2 holes closest to the edge. This is your plastic wall. This is your top insulation, and then your 2 pieces of insulation for the wall, the walls, and then we have the insulated steel floor and your sleeping pen. And those are what it takes to put the Dog Den Plus together. Okay, here are the tools that you should have to assemble a Dog Den Plus. First thing you need is either a cordless or electric drill. A Phillips head attachment for the drill is very handy. A pop rivet tool, a 9/64 drill bit, a 1/16 inch drill bit, a 3/8 box open end wrench, and a Phillips head screwdriver. This is what you're going to assemble the Dog Den Plus with. This is a pop rivet tool. Pop rivet tool has 4 mandrels. That's these little things right here that you can see, and we're using an 1/8 inch rivet with a 1/16 inch shank. So you've got to make sure that the shank fits the correct mandrel. All right. So once you insert the pop rivet, then it's a matter of taking the 2 pieces of steel, put it through both of them, and then it's a matter of squeezing it. Compress it. As you can see how that head is expanding? That's what's going to hold those 2 pieces of steel together. Let it go back up all the way, and then it pops off. Therefore, it's called a pop rivet tool. Always make sure that the shank comes out before you put another one in. Okay, in the next step, we're going to attach the wall panels to the back and front wall. Now, it helps a lot, by the way, to have somebody to help you steady the pieces when you're putting this particular step together. All right, the first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you align the bottom hole with the bottom hole in the tab of the back wall. You'll insert your rivet, squeeze it off. You'll do the same thing on the front. The next thing that you want to do is you want to take your 9/64 bit in your drill and you want to ream the hole. Okay? And by doing so, what you're going to do is you'll make sure that those holes are perfectly aligned. And they are aligned very well already, but if you do have any kind of deviance a little bit, you could get waving or buckling. So just make sure that you do that every time and it will go together perfectly. Once you've inserted the other 2 rivets on each end, then you will do the same step on the other side. Okay, what we're going to do next is we have to set the unit on the 1x6s. They're either 31 5/8 or 31 3/4 if you want to make them really tight. And I'm using plastic here. The plastic 1x6s work very well. As you can see, I've got a helper go away. And anyhow, the okay, and what we're going to do next is we set the unit on our 1x6s. The 1x6s are anywhere from 31 5/8 or 31 3/4 if you want to make it really tight. And I'm using plastic lumber, plastic 1x6s here. You can buy them at most any lumber yard. And I like them pretty well because if you have a USDA approved kennel, they don't like wood very much. If you are going to use wood, make sure that you use treated 1x6. Anyhow, we have a hole here on the inside of the frame, and we put our screw in there and attach it, and there we go. We do that on all 4 corners. Okay, the next step is to insert or attach our front brace or brace support. And the one thing that we want to make sure of is that it is square with the frame of the unit and flush with the wall over here. Now the inside 2 holes, there and there, we're going to use the screws. With these 2, we'll use pop rivets. So what we'll do, the first thing that we'll do is we'll put the 2 screws in here and the pop rivets there. Okay, you can see here we have 2 screws, 2 rivets. The reason we use screws here is we want those to screw down into the base, either the plastic or the wood. And then these rivets, they go through the support brace here and then through the bottom part of the wall. Okay, this is a chew guard, goes on one on each end of the base, and it has a front hole and a side hole. Screw goes on each side. And of course this is exactly what a chew guard does, is it keeps the dog from being able to chew the plastic or the wood. And we attach it with a screw. Okay, the next thing we do is we take one end of the plastic, we slide it down between the wall and the frame. Over here do the same thing. And then get it underneath the back tab. The next step is to insert the wall insulation down between the wall panel and the plastic wall. Remember, when you squeeze it down in there, is to keep the pressure even. Push it all the way down. The next step we're going to do is to attach the front tab to the front wall frame, and you'll notice that there's a bend in the metal. We want the long end on top, and it goes up here. There are 2 rivets that hold it on. We do not put a rivet in the middle. In this step, we take our final piece of insulation, or styrofoam, and slide it between the 2 tabs on the front and the back. And then what we do is we take our flexible insulation for the corner. This is a material called Reflectex, It works very well, and it has a really high R value. We just put it up in here, fill the void, kind of slide your hands along, slide it down a little bit to put it underneath the foam insulation to hold it in place, and until we put the top on. Now this is something that you really don't have to do, but it helps if you've got a what they call a motorcycle strap or ratchet strap, put on a little block of wood. That helps pull the top very securely up against the wall, and you don't have to push on it quite as hard. Make sure that when you put your rivets in, though, that you've got the top pushed up firmly against the wall. You can do it without this, but this is just kind of handy if you've got one. The next step that we're going to do is to attach the top to the walls, and make sure that when you set it down on here, that the hem on the top fits over the notch on the wall, and it also does it on the front. Once you've done that, push it down, and then the first two rivets you're going to put in will be up here on the top. Once you've done that, then you'll come over here, you'll start in the middle, remember to ream it out, put your rivet in, pop it off, and then work your way towards the back. Our next step is to attach the gussets to the pan. This will support the front, and we'll take that in there and squeeze it off. Next step is to attach the front to the pan here, and I start off with a rivet in the middle. Put it in here, in the middle hole, of course. Squeeze it off, and then work my way out. Remember, ream the holes before you do. The next step, we have to drill 3 holes on each side to attach the gusset to the front plate here. And if you have a needle nose vice grip, it's handy. Otherwise, you have to hold it by hand. Make sure you line up the gusset straight with the holes, and then go ahead and drill. The next step is we will take our weather stripping, peel the back off of it, and we'll stick it all the way around on the base, including the front here. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to push this up against the frame, and we're going to mark it so we know where to put our hasp. Make sure you mark the top of it so that you get this up there correctly. I run this up to there, and then we will go around and affix the weather stripping. All right, we've attached our door cowl assembly to the front wall with our 10 nuts, lock washers, and bolts. Just snug them up. Don't get tighten them up too much yet, because we want to swing the door back and forth, make sure that it's quiet. Well, it's not. So what we do here is, if it's striking on one side, this time right over here, that means that we need to raise the axis over here. So use a little block of wood, a little persuasion, and there we go. Swings nice and smooth. Once we've got that done, we go in, we use our 3/8 box end wrench, Phillips head screwdriver, tighten up your bolts real nice and tight, and it should work well for you. Remember to lubricate your bushings often with silicone spray.